Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. The last Monday night race to be seen in 2023 as the ISRC Lara Productions Truck Series Season 5 Championship is tonight. We've gone through all the races to get to this point. Homestead, Miami, the destination that gave us one of the best championship races back in Season 2. Well, for Season 5, they're hoping the magic will strike once again, as we have 4 drivers in the yellow that are racing for the championship this evening, as they are set up and prepared for 150 laps here tonight. The ultimate goal, just finish ahead of your competition, and you find yourself with the Season 5 championship. We're proud to give you all the coverage again here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up the booth is Zach Hull. And Zach, another season in the books, and we're about to crown a new champion.
Oh man, Sam, it's time, my friends. It's going to get down to business here because we've got a very, very special moment on hand for all 4 of these drivers, and I cannot wait to witness it personally on this track. Like we said, we've had some of the classic finishes before. Let's see if we can produce some of that history tonight. As looks like Forbes closing it out here on top of the board. That's a great way for himself, as we got these final 5 seconds clicking off before qualifying ends.
A great way to take the top of the board here currently with 3 seconds left in qualifying. It looks like this is where the drivers are going to be lining up here this evening. But is the pole position where you want to be? Because in the past 3 races the ISRC has ran here at Homestead, a pole sitter has yet to win. So John Forbes is going to have to break some of the trends from the past as we get ourselves ready for tonight's race. As we get ourselves, the drivers gridding up for your Orchid Moon Tattoo Studios qualifying grid. Go head on over to Orchid Moon Tattoo Studios on Instagram. Go check out their wide selection of fully colored custom tattoos, prints, paintings, stickers, and more. Thank you to that of Orchid Moon Tattoo Studios for being the qualifying sponsor for the whole entire of Season 5. Has taken the pole award. It's the 11 machine of John Forbes, the odds-on favorite. If you talk to the drivers themselves, they say the 11 is the one to watch out for. But looking for redemption in position number 2, it's Ollie Fonseca, who led the most laps last season in the championship race, but fell shy on grabbing the championship itself. In third, it's going to be Joshua Kanata, the 16, the dark horse of the 4 drivers that are running for a championship. Can he sneak away with the win? Last season's champion, Nick Crawford, is going to be in 4th. 5th, it's already a champion, Danny Cochran, trying to go for history, become the first 2-time champ in the ISRC Truck Series history. Can he get it done for himself? A driver that's won here in the past back in Season 2 is GT Rizari in the 14, Malik Kuntz in 7th, Mason Cassidy, probably one of the best drivers from the rookie class, in 8th. 9th is Ryan Ferraro, and finishing out our top 10, it's going to be the 19 of Tyler Dangler.
Starting in the 11th position, it's going to be the 6 of Justin Smith. Alongside him, it's going to be the 38 of Christopher Norris. 13th is going to be the 25 of Cody Reed. Alongside him at 14th, it's going to be the 1 truck of Martin Morales. 15th position is going to be held by Joshua Fried, and the last truck in the field here tonight for our 16 trucks, it's going to be the 53 of Eric Stamp. That rounds out the grid.
4 drivers hunting for the championship. Again, tonight's race, 150 laps, stage break at the end of lap 60. No fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires in pit road. And Zach, we were looking at the strategy of how these drivers want to tackle this stage. They're going to have to make a pit stop, but the question then looms, when do you want to make that stop for yourself?
That is a great question to have for us, Sam, because, you know, that stage at lap 60, like we said, not going to be able to make it there with the fuel tank size we have here tonight. It's the full 18.7 gallons, just not the greatest fuel mileage you're getting around this 1.5-mile racetrack. Going to be able to go about 48 laps to the extent there. So really, I look at these guys maybe splitting it in half, but you might get a little bit more aggressive, maybe push early in this run, hit around 25, because you can make it from there to the end. It's just going to depend how aggressive you want to get for that track position.
Homestead, Miami, it has been slick whenever we come to this track in the trucks. Lap 1, exit of turn 2 has been the position of disaster on almost every race that we've been here at Homestead. So the question is going to be, who will survive the exit of turn 2? It was John Forbes back in Season 2 that found his hopes of a championship squandered in that one moment. Most of our championship 4 inside of the top 5. Let's see who's gonna win the ISRC Lara Productions Season 5 Championship. A little bit of a wiggle on the outside, but John Forbes with the momentum on the inner groove. The 11 with the lead position.
Great start there from the bottom lane as it looks like Kanata with the push the Forbes that got him out there. But now he's going to be stuck fighting the 24 of Ali Fonseca as they come off of turn number 2. And it's going to be Danny Cochran making the quick pass on Nick Crawford to move himself with all top 4 contenders in those 4 positions. So
top 4, championship 4, and they survive off the exit of turn 2. John Forbes, though, a slight wiggle off the exit, going to give the momentum to Ali Fonseca as they're going to be side by side for the lead across the line. The 11 leads lap 1, but it's all about the finish of the race as John Forbes feels lucky that he's still running.
Very much so. That was a huge slide there, and that's that cold tire condition. You're going to see that happen all tonight here multiple times on restarts as it looks like Forbes ripped that top wall. It's going to be a big run down the back straightaways. He's going to make the move to the inside here, down into 3. But Fonseca now probably in the preferred position to be on the outside groove, but it looks like Forbes trying to get a good enough run to close it out, but he just can't. The 24 is going to fight back on the side draft.
Trying to do a little bit more of a side draft move. Slides up and holds on. They're going to be 3 wide deeper in the field. But up front, it's our championship 4 in the top 4. You see them in gold on our ticker. And all you have to do is be the first driver to cross the line at the last lap to win yourself a championship. And now John Forbes is trying to become that driver. He looked at the statistics. He's got the best finish average at coming to the mile and a half, and he's hoping that average can continue on as the 11 getting the squeeze placed on him as Ali Fonseca in that 24 of going to be Flames Machine, a Jeff Gordon throwback scheme on the 24 of Ali Fonseca. He wanted to have something to bring a little bit of luck maybe on his side, and his favorite driver being Jeff Gordon, hoping that that's going to be carrying forward. Other drivers throwing some throwback schemes on. Danny Cochran running the championship scheme that Kevin Harvick ran when he won the championship here at Homestead. Drivers hoping that maybe superstition is going to help them get into victory lane.
They very well could. And, they always say you look good, you feel good, so you might as well get a good paint job out there to go out there and, really get that motivation up sometimes. It actually can help. It's crazy to say, but the paint scheme on the outside of the car, even having a cool looking one like these guys got, can really actually add some pep into your step. As it looks like Cochran here taking a little different approach, but than these championship 4 here. But the driver taking the probably most aggressive approach is the driver behind him. But the 30 Christopher Norris started 12th, Sam. He's trying to break into the top 4. I believe Sam might have hit the mute button accidentally there as we stay with this group right here as Christopher Norris still trying to attack and run that outside line. It's just going to be the question of how much will the tires be hurt by that condition of running up top there, gaining this many positions this early on, and we'll just see how well it works. As it looks like folks who actually lost Sam here for a few moments as he's going to be trying to get back with us here. You're going to stick with me up here in the booth as we're looking at racing here, going through the first 6 laps of our championship race here at the Larry's Arts Productions ISRC Truck Series. What a start to this event with our top 4 being the championship 4 contenders. But right now we're seeing the pressure is starting to be put on Danny Cochran. Is he saving the tires is the question we've all got to be asking. With our front 2 of Forbes and Ali Fonseca, definitely we're battling very aggressive to start this race. It's just going to be to see who can have those best tires when it comes in. As right now, continuing as look as this is we're going to bring our producer Robert Moyer up in here in the booth with us as he's going to help me out here until we can get Sam back up here with his technical difficulties.
All right, yeah, all right. Well, I'm going to fill in for Sam and do the best that I can here, but yeah, just checking this track out here tonight here, Zach. It looks doesn't look too racy right now from what I'm seeing, but right now the top 4 are, that are running for the championship are basically showing the way, like you said.
They really are. They're showing the way, and it's not something that's uncommon for these championship races. Right. I think we normally see from what we've watched. We've seen a lot of them. It's usually those 4 contenders who have that opportunity, especially in these one-race championship formats, that come out and really show a lot of pace. And I think that's all a lot down to just shows preparation. I mean, when you know it's a championship race, you're probably going to practice, while other guys are coming out here probably just showing up to tonight, just seeing what they can produce in these trucks themselves.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, you're absolutely right with that one, Zach, here. As we're watching right now, that 17 and 98 battle back here for Looks like it's going to be for 7th and 8th position as we hop up here to Christopher Norris here, running up 7 positions here, running in 5th position right now. But if you're one of these championship drivers right now, Zach, what are you doing here? You just taking in some data right now here for 150 laps and scoping out your opponents? I mean, you're not worrying about racing against anybody else out there. I mean, unless they get around you. But your main focus right now as a championship driver is figure out what the other 3 are doing so you can beat them.
No, you're exactly right, Robert. And I kind of like the position that we're looking right here is the 2 of Danny Cochran. He's got the 3 in front of him who, kind of, you can see, opened up a little bit of a sizable gap, because now even John Forbes is trying to go to the inside, Ali Fonseca. So we do have a battle for the lead now heating up as we begin to talk about these guys. But I like the opportunity to sit back here and approach and kind of just look and kind of stalk them, let them go out there, push their tires, and maybe let this come to you, especially knowing we're going to have a green flag pit stop here if we stay green in the stage. You're not going to be able to go that full 60 laps. So just let this run come to you. You got that yellow flag at lap 60 also to reset yourself. So you can really kind of take this as a learning point right now, as looks like the 24 trying to fight back on the top side. And he's got a good run down that back straightaway. That top of 1 and 2 was working well to get a big run.
Most definitely. And just watching too here, Zach, watching that 24 on the high side there, you can see he got the run again coming through 3 and 4, but it looks like that number 11 there, John, he's got a strong truck, but these 2 trucks are, to me personally, are looking to run equal lap times, and one might be faster than the other on one lap, and then vice versa. So I got a funny feeling as we got, what I'm going to say here is, whoa, we got Christopher Norris getting loose.
Big time loose there off of 2. That's going to allow
Hang
his
on to it.
teammate Nick Crawford to get to that outside and try to move around him for that 5th position to fight for a top 5. But, the one thing I think could be playing out front here, Robert, with, the changing of those positions between Forbes and Fonseca, it seems like from lap to lap, a little bit of cat and mouse game maybe, a little bit of, I don't want to burn my stuff up, so I'm going to just get out front to have the clean air and just go just fast enough to stay in front of you. And then you have those little bit of issues sometimes that can allow those drivers to get right back into position with you. So it's definitely one of those things that we're just going to have to watch throughout the night, who is pushing when and who's saving. But right now, all 4 of them, nose to tail, as Cochran's closed back in on them.
I was just ready to say, as you were talking here, Zach, I was watching Cochran and also the 16 of their, I had a brain fart. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, they're slowly, lap after lap, getting closer and closer and closer to them 2 front. And the more these 2 front battle, like this right now, as 11's going to get a run coming down the back stretch to go into turn number 3 here, that's going to open up the door for that 16 and the number 2 truck there.
It really will. Here's the 16 and the 2 going to close in while they're side by side. Or can Forbes get clear of this 24 to get control of this race and get the clean air that he needs?
I just don't see
strong
it.
in the 1 and 2, and it's tough because Fonseca's been able to find grip up top in that top groove. But will he be able to clear this time? He's not going to be able to. And now it's going to let Kanata get into the picture.
Okay. I was ready to say, here comes the top 4 champions. So why not? I mean, just have a blanket right over the top 4 running for the championship. You couldn't ask for anything better here at Homestead on Freaking Fast Broadcasting from the ISRC Truck Series. I mean, it's been a great long season with these guys. They grinded it out, for multiple weeks. What are we looking at? 18 weeks that these guys were, battling week in and week out, Zach, to come down to this race. And people say, it might be just a sim game or a game, whatever you want to call it. But there's pressure on all these drivers to do something, and they know it when they go out there. I used to feel never had a chance to run for a championship because Zach always stole them all. But you know what I'm trying to say, Zach. You've been in this position. You've been where you had the pressure on you to not mess up.
Yeah, I've been in this position multiple times and really have never been the driver on the outcome of the end that these drivers want to be on. So
right,
I don't really know too much on the winning aspect of it, but I do know on the aspect of the pressure. That is definitely there, and it's in the back of your mind knowing that one mistake. All you got to do is, we get the green flag stop here around lap 30 or so. You speed on pit road there before the stage in. That could be the difference between you fighting for at least an opportunity to not having no opportunity at all. As it looks like we do have a change for third now. As Cocker moves on to third, I'm telling you, watch out for that too. He was saving the stuff, Robert. I think he's going to be the one to watch out for as the run goes on. Is starting to see these trucks a little bit more wobbling back and forth through the center of the corner. I think we're starting to get a little bit of loss of grip in the rear and the front end also.
Yeah, well, 20 laps into this run here right now. So, yeah, I have to agree with you there, Zach. And we'll see who saved and who didn't as the field is all spread out here tonight at Homestead. And we're keeping an eye on them front runners, but we do got some other drivers out here still battling, racing on the track here. They're running for their pride back here, as you got Justin Smith back here, which Josh Freed, the 39 and the 6 back here side by side, trying to do something back here for 13th and 14th position, and try to come out, finishing the race and get ready for, next season whenever the ISRC Truck Series decides to open up their next season, Zach, which I do believe will be after the holidays. So it's kind of funny and kind of weird just thinking that, we are now down to the end of the seasons for a lot of the leagues that we broadcast. And after that, we're going to be twiddling our thumbs working on things for next season.
That we will, man. It's going to be fun to see how it all closes out here tonight. But one thing we're glad about right now, Robert, we appreciate the help that you gave us here while Sam had some issues, but I think we got our lead commentator
Sam
back with us. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta love technology sometimes. When it says you're done, you gotta take a break. So
there you
got a little bit
take
of a break
break
time for myself, and we're back at it again. Thank you, Robert, for subbing in for me as we're again here with 22 laps in the book. Ollie Fonseca leading the way. A little bit of trouble with drivers deeper in the field running with one another, as we're seeing Justin Smith, Ryan Ferraro, Tyler Dangler. Drivers are just out here enjoying their last race of the season, trying to gain any little bit of knowledge they can before they, like you guys just said, get this long break time to just take it easy. And I think a lot of drivers are excited for it.
Yeah, definitely get their minds off some racing and get back to the roots, as they would say. But looking now from that 5th position, this is Nick Crawford, first driver outside that top 4 of the championship 4. He's getting a good shot of this up here, Sam. They're getting dicey as now you see Danny Cochran up ahead. He's to the inside from the look of Joshua Kanata. He's now to the inside of the 11, and he's looking to maybe take that second spot over and try to fight his teammate Ali Fonseca.
And trying to get the lead position because you're hoping you're furthest up ahead before you have to come into pit road. And Ollie Fonseca and John Forbes, they've been playing a little bit too close, I would say, a bumper tag with one another. Some blocking moves from Ollie. John trying to be aggressive at times, but side by side, the 24 defending every single opportunity he can for the last 15 laps. And it's been great to see from Ollie, who I'm curious, Zach, on how much he's learned from last season's championship race, where he was in a very similar situation, leading and defending drivers behind him.
I think you can learn a ton from that previous experience to take to tonight. Different tracks where we were at Charlotte last season, this season here at Homestead, but still the experience of having the pressure of not trying to make the mistake while you're up front. Leading a championship race is some great experience to have, and that's definitely what he has. As we're looking at the 38 here now, Christopher Norris, let's say he's getting passed by Mason Cassidy in the 17, and not really a surprise here for me, Sam, too much, because that 38 went from 12th all the way to 5th. I think he's used a little bit of tire doing that, and that's put him in jeopardy to drop back a little bit here slowly.
Yeah, he made that aggressive move up to 5th in just about 5 laps. So he really was using up those tires, trying to get some knowledge before our stage break. Again, we have our stage at the end of lap 60. Reset from as right on board the 14 of GT Rizari, who's found his way into victory lane here back in season 2. He had to battle and hold off Trevor Earhart to the end of that championship race, and this 14, that maybe some similar match could happen, not winning for a championship, but try to get back to victory lane.
This 14 always good at these high abrasive tracks that have fall off and long run speed, where it's very important. It just seems to be, Irizarry's sweet spot, as I would say. So no surprise to see him fighting up here for a top 6 position so far, but man, he's definitely got a good little show of what's going on up ahead. As again, that top four is staying all together. And you know, while you were gone, Sam, me and Robert talked about it a little bit. It's just always so fascinating to see how the top four guys that make it to these championship races usually are the top four in the race, just showing how much preparation they put in and showing that, you know, it really helps to put in that practice, I believe.
Yeah, and I talked to the championship four, messaged all of them privately yesterday while they were taking their championship photos as a group, just trying to get some press out there before tonight's race. And I asked them all, you know, how do they prep? What was practice like this week, getting prepared for this race? And they said a lot of them, hey, this was a great week for iRacing themselves. iRacing had official races, what they call C-fixed races, where the trucks were running officially here at Homestead. The only issue, it was great track time, but it was during the daytime. It wasn't nighttime conditions that this race is going to transition into, but they feel very confident with the amount of seat time that they have at this track. They know it well. The question is, can we perform when it's race time?
That is a huge difference, in my opinion. You know, having that daytime shift to nighttime now, it can have a huge track change, but just the fact of racing in those C-fix races, those official races, getting to learn the nuances of side-by-side racing here, it can really help even in the different day conditions and it really just the overall different weather conditions that you get from those different sessions. So it's always interesting to see that. Is looks like Kanata, he ripped the wall there in 1 and 2, didn't get the greatest amount of speed built up, and now he's got the threat of the 74 of Nick Crawford coming up to the back bumper of him.
Coming up, putting the pressure, and Joshua Kanata, we're talking with him, he said this feels like probably one of his worst ovals that he's came into tonight running in. He doesn't feel very confident with running for a championship, but he's just happy to be here. And the 16 in the top four in the early going, not a bad place to be as we are officially halfway through our stage. Stage caution going to be at the end of lap 60 for these drivers. Take a look at Cody Reed, who sadly was 1 point away last week from transferring to become an in-train to run for a championship. Zach, this 25 really was hoping to run for a championship here tonight, aiming for a top 10, top 5 finish.
What a heartbreak it was last week, man, for him after such a great run, just to come up second just due to a restart, just giving up the lead. It really shook things up. As things I say shook up, the lead is shook up. As right now Forbes has been able to get past Forbes, or sorry, the 24 Fonseca, and now the 2 of Cochran trying to get past his teammate also.
Just a bad slip up off the exit of the corner from Ollie Fonseca that gives John Forbes the momentum, the opportunity, and the 11 takes the lead, and the 2 trying to press forward as other drivers deeper in the field hitting pit road. GT Rosari as well as Mark Morales hitting pit road. Eric Stamp made his stop about 2 laps ago. The rest of the field, they are going to go a stacked 3 wide for a quick second. Ollie Fonseca, Danny Cochran, the teammates from Larson line. How are they going to react with one another? As you want to be respectful with your teammate, we're both running for your own type of race and glory here tonight. As over the radio, Ollie Fonseca saying he's pitting. Danny gives him the space, and into pit road's the 24.
No surprise with this call. We're a little bit past halfway from the stage. And look, others following down is the 17 of Cassidy, the 38 of Christopher Norris, the 25 of Cody Reed. There was almost contact down there on the entry of pit road, but we'll see how much longer these top 3 stay out, as it looks like Forbes was able to open up the gap after he's gotten past Fonseca. Huge moment for him as pit stops start to happen.
Yeah, and I think that, if anything, that hurts Danny and Joshua Kanata the worst, mainly because they had to get out of the way and give space to make sure they didn't run over the 24 of Ollie Fonseca. Now they got to recover, but John Force, because of all that space that he was given, decides to pit. Not going to give up too much time to the 24 as Danny Cochran, as well as Joshua Kanata, Nick Crawford, they stay out. They continue to race on.
Great response by John Forbes there. Doesn't want to get undercut from the 24. Immediately hits pit road. Now the 2 of Cochran in the 16 of Kanata, they elect to stretch it 1 lap longer. We'll see if they elect to come down next time. As you see in the background, there's Ollie Fonseca leaving from his pit box. Seems like no mistakes, no black flags. The 24 up to speed.
A solid pit stop for Ollie Fonseca. The big thing for him is he wants to make sure he gets in front of this lead pack as Danny Cochran makes his dash into pit road. He wants to make sure for the 24 that he unlaps himself as soon as possible, just in case a yellow flag comes out. You don't want to be trapped 1 lap down, especially getting the lucky dog spot. That means you're just going to be going to the end of the line. As we ride on board with the 2 machine, trying to get to his box as Danny Cochran came in, qualified 5th. He's got to find his 5th box. Into pit road, slots perfectly. That's a great stop by the 2. As we move back up to Kanata and Crawford trying to hold back the 24 that's got the fresh rubber and breezing his way by.
You can just see the speed that that new rubber has as Kanata brings it down. As we'll see how this cycles through. Is this going to be Nick Crawford now staying out there along with, I believe, Tyler Dingler, Joshua Freed, and possibly now, no, sorry, Ryan Ferraro is going to be coming in with them. So top four staying out right now at the moment, but Fonseca has cycled in front of John Forbes and jumped him with that one lap earlier pit stop.
What a job to jump in. Gonna be moving forward. A little bit less than a second. John Forbes expected to close in on this gap as we still have three drivers and needing to enter pit road before the stage is over, being Nick Crawford, Tyler Dangler, and Joshua Freed over those last drivers. Ferraro and as well Kanata were the most recent to make their stops. GT Rizari, who was one of the earlier drivers to come into pit road, really putting the pressure on Danny Cochran and Cody Reed currently as they're 3 wide, trying to get by Nick Crawford on the outer groove. As Crawford just has to watch the field breeze on by in the 74. Zach, we were doing the numbers. You could stay out a pretty long distance if you like, but you're not going to make it throughout the whole entire stage by staying out.
Yeah, you're not. You're going to be personally, if you save a little bit, I'd imagine you can get to 50, probably saving a good little bit. And, you know, that's still 10 laps short, though, of that lap 60 stage. So don't see anybody getting to the lap 60 stage, but I think more or less Nick Crawford maybe looking to catch that caution. Nothing to lose for these guys that have yet to pit the top three, because I mean, they're not in the playoffs. You know, there's nothing really to gain or win here other than getting a caution and striking out with, you know, getting track position over these other guys.
As we talked about different drivers having different schemes for themselves, well, Tyler's rocking his own special scheme this evening, taking a little bit of reference from the Barbie movie with his Mojo Dojo Casa house, running out here in the 19. You know, it's always fun when you could just bring out some joy. One of the drivers that loves bringing out different schemes that we talked about the championship for on some of their different schemes that they're running. Another driver that's running a special one is the 53 of Eric Stamp. Kind of scared a lot of people with this scheme because he's running with practically a thank you. Armadillo's truck was looking like he was going to say Armadillos are leaving. No, he's just giving appreciation that Armadillos raced this season, and he's repping for the squad as no one else was able to show up as they all had prior obligations. Lone Armadillo, it's Eric Stamp tonight.
He's definitely the lone one tonight, but repping him well is Eric Stamp. That's great to see from him. And yeah, I heard the rumor of the scare there, so it's great to hear that that's not the case, and they'll be back next season here at ISRC. But great to always see those cool new paint schemes come out like that again and just shake things up, as they would say. So it's been a fun experience, but Nick Crawford, Tyler Dingler, and Joshua Freed still staying out. But the battle that I think is about to start happening for that fourth place position, it's the 24 of Ali Fonseca and the 11 of John Forbes and Zeke Forbes up against the wall trying to build the momentum.
John Forbes trying to work strategy, and for these drivers up front, strategy calls of who could you get in your ear to help you out. Ali Fonseca pitted a lap sooner than John Forbes. He's hoping the outside lane, the momentum is going to enable the 24 to hold this position. But little slip up, Forbes has got the better run off the exit of the corner. And the 11 back to what should be the lead point, but he's got one more chance to dive down below. And Ollie's going to ship it to the outside wall. Looking for the better exit is the 24. He gasses it up, and what a run from Ollie to hold steady as the lead driver of those that have already came into pit road. Still our top three need to pit. But Zach, that helpful voice the drivers getting, they're real life spotters. Our top three championship drivers all having different spotters to help them out.
That they are. I mean, Kanata looks like the odd man out in that situation, unfortunately for himself. It helps so much. I mean, I cannot tell you people how much it really does help out there to have that extra set of eyes just to go around and look at everything, because, you know, you got the normal iRacing spotter. It works great. It does a great things. But this spotter, you know, that real life person one can go back, rewind, look at footage, really dissect everything. We're getting a great battle right here for this fourth place position that will be the lead when it cycles through. As let's say Forbes has done it as the crossover will happen as the 24 cuts under, but I think Forbes is now the preferred position. But it helps to have a real life spotter when you're battling like this also too, Sam.
It really does, as this duel back and forth, a good march on who can keep this position. For all of Fonseca, he's got the ears of spotter that he's had since last season, that being Brandon Davies in his ear. John Forbes, on the other hand, he's got a legend in the iRacing world. He's got Logan Clampett helping him out as a spotter. And for Danny Cochran, well, why not bring in a champion to help out the champion? Vincent Sora, not racing, but he's in helping Danny Cochran as a spotter here tonight.
What a great group of spotters there. You got a champion in Vincent Sora there, of course, with Cochran. You got Brandon Davies, who's been with Ollie every single race as these two continue to dice it up. And then you got Logan Clampett, of all people, on the 11 team. And I'm telling you, whatever Logan's telling John, he needs to listen to it, because Logan knows definitely how to get it done with his experience of being really, a professional, and not only in the sim racing side here on the oval stuff, but also just a really well-known driver in the community.
Yeah, and you might be wondering, well, how did they get connected with one another? They both race in the college series, where Logan Clampett usually is dominating, but John Forbes has been creeping faster and faster in that group, and hoping that maybe that creeping of helpfulness is going to help here tonight, as last season's champion of Nick Crawford into pit road, leaving us with just two drivers still needing to pit, that being Tyler Dangler and Joshua Freed out on track. 45 laps in the book, stage yellow at the end of lap 60. Zach, I mean, this field, certainly it's been a surprising one. 35 drivers took a green at some point this season for the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series Season 5. And tonight being race number 18. The numbers aren't as great and grand as they've been in the past, but the competition level, we looked at, the stats of the most wins, the different winners that have won throughout the seasons. This is tied with one of the most winningest different winners of a season ever in the ISRC Truck Series, and John Forbes hoping to get back into victory lane once again for himself.
Yeah, that was a huge discussion we had, was just how close and competitive it's been this season. Not as much participation as we've seen past seasons, but it's been really the competition of the drivers that have been here is so close together that week in and week out, you really don't know what's happening. As I'm watching that top two group right now battle, Forbes got up into the outside wall and stacked things up, and here's Cochran on the freshest tires of this group. He's loving what he's seeing with these two battling.
He's battling, he's being aggressive, and that was a major scare for John Forbes and Ollie Fonseca, as Danny Cochran crept in and almost found himself being covered with them, battling with one another. It seemed like they were more focused on each other, as Danny Cochran sees the moment, strikes it down low, 3 wide, battling for third place and for the championship. The two machine of Danny Cochran, he's been in this scenario once before. John Forbes is finally getting a chance to run for a championship here at Homestead, and Ollie Fonseca once again falls back, older tires than the group that he's with, and he just has to watch this group just pull away.
Yeah, he does. And the biggest thing for him, he just needs to remember, you got the caution coming at lap 60. Even if you don't win this stage, this thing doesn't matter at all. Take what you learned from the racing right now and apply it later. And maybe if an opportunity opens up with these two racing ahead of you, take advantage of it. So I think Ollie did a great job there of backing out of it, allowing his teammate to get up to second, because now his teammate is going to try to battle this 11, and that only allows the 24 to stay that much closer.
A little bit of dashing back and forth on who is going to be the attacker, as Joshua Freed has made a stop. Everyone that needs to make a stop has done so, and now it's just going to be a straight dash to the end. Who's going to win the stage? As there are no bonus points to be grabbed, it's all about the end of the race for these drivers, and John Forbes leading the charge. He was the favorite. I asked all the drivers, okay, besides yourself, who's the competition that you're most worried about? John Forbes really didn't have anyone. He said all competition is going to be tough to race with. All the other three competitors, they said John Forbes is the guy we got to beat.
And I think it's showing why. This 11, I just had the feeling coming into tonight. It's been that way with this playoffs this season, that he's just coming into a form that is starting to get very, very consistent. I think that's what he kind of lacked in his past seasons, is he had the win pace, or just he wasn't around at all pace. It was just always so weird and opportunistic that he got wins in different spots of the seasons, and really got hot and cold throughout it. But I think his consistency is really starting to show now, and week in and week out he's competing for wins. And that's when you start to get in championship form. And if he does it this season, I think he's finally molded into, what they would say maybe his prime form of ISRC so far.
Yeah, I mean, season 2 was probably the primest of forms that we saw from John Forbes. He won 6 races that season, and going into that championship race, he was probably the favorite to win that championship, but then was taken out first lap, exited turn 2, and never had a chance to even fight for it. Here tonight, finding that consistency just a little bit more, but he's got to hold back the Larson line drivers of Danny Cochran, Ollie Fonseca, and Danny, who's got the 1 lap fresher tires than John Forbes, and also didn't have to worry about the wall that John got close to a couple laps ago. This 2 machine trying to hit his marks and be the lead driver. As Danny Cochran knows, the lead position, clean air, it's a good way to win a championship like he did back in season 3 at Phoenix.
It's like he's going to try to throw the slider here as they go down the 1 and 2, and he's going to slide up the racetrack with the 11 closing in down the back straightaway. He's going to open up the door and allow him to get back to the outside. Interesting decision by the 2 of Cochran there as they're going to race side by side as the 11 really putting it on the door, trying to make sure that 2 gets nice and tight down below him.
I mean, kind of shows the tape of 2 drivers and 2 different driving styles. I mean, for Danny Cochran, Ollie Fonseca, Ollie was willing to put the block on John Forbes every chance he could. Danny, on the other hand, giving the space, trying to run a little bit more respectful and show, hey, I'm willing to give you the space. Hopefully you'll give that back to me later on here tonight.
A great pass there in the middle 1 and 2. And look, he goes back low again, maybe to break the draft, but I think you got to cover off that top. Don't allow him to get back to that right rear quarter panel, because right now you need to take advantage of the fresher tires, the clean air, and try to drive away before this lap 60 stage is big loose there from the 11. And Sam, that right there could have been the moment that changed everything for Forbes, but a great save from the 11 team.
I think at this point we got to start a counter for John Forbes and the big saves he's had off the exit of turn 4. That's 2 massive saves. Or just a simple overcorrection could be the end of your night. You have no fast repair. If you have any damage, and you can see your championship is done. And for the 11, holding steady as he is trying to get to the caution as soon as possible after that big slide. As going to be seen Joshua Kanata, Christopher Norris, 4th and 5th. Kanata has been able to get by Christopher Norris, but Norris looks like he's willing to fight back to get back into our top 4.
He does seem to be fighting back here a little bit, and on much older tires than Kanata. You know, about 3 laps it looks like difference, and that's a considerable difference when it comes to the Homestead Miami Speedway. So Norris here fighting strong, but Kanata trying to close down the gap up to the leaders up ahead of him. He's about 3 seconds back right now, but more or less in the big picture, when this caution comes out here in the next 4 laps, if he's in 4th, he's at the end of the day right there in that next row behind these guys up ahead of him. That's still a win for Kanata as he gets big time loose, and now it's going to open up the door, like I said, and there goes the 38 of Christopher Norris.
You're just banking on the mistake. You try to run as smooth as you can, and if the driver in front of you has a big slide, you utilize that loss of momentum and take the advantage. And that's what the 38's trying to do on the outside, to rocket his way onto the backstretch and past the 16. Kanata falls to 5th. And for Joshua Kanata, like I said, he doesn't feel confident or comfortable at this track, but that's something he's going to have to evolve into after this stage is over. And it might have to turn into a strategy call more than a racing on track call, as Kanata, one of the drivers that waited later to come to pit road. Curious if he's going to have to flip the tape and instead trying to be one of the sooner drivers to pit after our stage is done.
Well, I think the one thing that's going to be very interesting about the next part of this race, Sam, is, you know, we got 60 laps here to the stage, so 150 laps in this race. That leaves us with 90 laps left. Cut that in half, that's 45 lap runs apiece. I mean, we're going to have some caution laps, of course, there after the stage that will take a few laps away. But we only seen drivers really stretch it. You know, we seen some stretch it, of course, way out there. But our top guys, we only see them stretch it about 32, 33, 34 laps there. When we get into that 42, 43 lap area, you're going to see more difference, more tire fall off. That's going to show a different face, and maybe that'll be the difference that makes up for a lot of these drivers. Is it looks like Cochran finally starting to build some breathing room here.
A lap and a half to go before the stage yellow will be thrown. And Danny Cochran trying to bring in that championship feel that Kevin Harvick had when he won his championship in a similar scheme. And this to Danny Cochran, kind of sad that his favorite driver's retiring. That's another reason why he's paying homage with the scheme he has here tonight. As we're on the last lap of the stage, the yellow flag will be thrown once 10th place crosses the line. The 2 wanting to make sure he's ahead of John Forbes, recognizing pit stops could be critical on a win or not in a championship.
They really can be, man. A pit stop, you get a penalty that can end your night just like that. You won't have enough time to make it back up, so you cannot make mistakes like that. As Cochran's going to come out of turn number 4 here to see the end of the stage.
Stage winner going to be the 2 machine of Danny Cochran, waiting for Malikus to cross the line in the 98 as he exits out of turn number 4 now. And what a charge it was. 60 laps in the book. First caution of the night going to be on the stage break. First time ever at Homestead that's happened. And Danny Cochran hoping that other trends might carry forward for himself. Leading the way, the 2 looking good here for the ISRC Layer Up Productions Truck Series Season 5 Championship at Homestead, Miami. And Zach, Danny Cochran feeling confident. He know he could have won the championship here at Homestead back in Season 2. He's got to reset, get prepared, because this restart could be critical. They survived the initial start. Those cold tires may strike once again.
Yeah, they really can be. And, we saw Cochran was the 4th driver really in the mix there to start the first run of this race off. And he was very cautious. With him being up front here, if he has that lead spot, he's not going to want to be cautious. He's going to want to hold on to that position, and that could lead to trouble. So we're going to have to watch out for this group when we get back going on the restart on the fresh tires, because those cold tires could rear their ugly head.
As the drivers are now caught up to the pace car, about to be entering pit road. And your top 5 drivers going to be Danny Cochran, John Force, Ollie Fonseca, Christopher Norris, GT Rosari, Joshua Kanata. Outside of our top 5, going to be in 6th place as the field enters pit road, running down the very slow 50 miles per hour pit speed limit. As the field tries to inch their way to their pit box. The first one's going to be all the drivers in the back. But here we go, entering their box. Don't want to slide, don't need any mistakes. As drivers into their box cleanly is Danny Cochran and the rest of the field as well. But it's Ollie Fonseca with the big backup for the 24.
And that's huge. That's multiple spots he's going to lose there. And that's track position, as they would say. And that's the number one thing you don't want to lose when it comes to these trucks is the race off pit road is going to be close. It looks like Cochran will win the race off with Forbes getting off second. Looks like third's going to be either, it looks like Kanata with Christopher Norris coming off the pit road 4th. It looks like Fonseca's going to be back around 8th here, Sam.
Fonseca back to 8th place. He might be able to take a couple of those positions back as they were entering the off-axis road. But massive loss for the 24. He's going to get a taste of what the dirty air is going to be like as he's able to move up. I believe it's around 6th or 5th. Ollie Fonseca is going to be placed for this restart. But man, what a run here at the beginning of tonight's race for these drivers as they are getting themselves set up and prepared. Big slides all around. But right now, looking at the field, Zach, they are all trying to get themselves prepared for this next restart. I'm looking to see who we can talk to of drivers on where they run right now. And it looks to be only ones in the Discord channel is Joshua Kanata and Ollie Fonseca. So we'll see if we can queue up one of those drivers and see how they're feeling about tonight's race. As let's see if I can queue up that of Joshua Kanata in the 16 right before we go here and see how he's feeling for this restart. 16 machine of Joshua Kanata. It's Sam up the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, Josh, you're up inside of our top 4 for the majority of that run, but you're 3rd now. How are you feeling about this upcoming restart?
Gotta say my tire's better. These guys are on another plan as far as tire saving go, but we get really loose on these restarts with the cold tires, so we just gotta be hoping to capitalize on any mistakes, maybe try to get off front, get some of that clean air.
Definitely think clean air is going to be huge here, Josh. But, man, I tell you what, we got a longer run coming up here now with the way this strategy should play out. How do you feel about your ability to save your tires for this next run here?
I'm going to try my best. It's definitely not easy to do with everybody racing as hard as they are and everybody as fast as they are. But it's just going to be about not sliding out of the corner, and I'll hope for the best.
Hey, we're hoping for the best for you, Josh. We'll send you back to your team, and good luck on this upcoming restart.
Thank you, guys.
As that's going to be the 16 machine of Joshua Kanata, formerly Alliance with Snowy Desert Racing, but last couple of weeks there's been a little bit of discussions between the teams and a little bit of parting ways between Kanata and Snowy Desert Racing. So Kanata's all on his own coming into tonight, while John Forbes has got Snowy Desert, Danny Cochran and Ollie Fonseca have Larson Line. I'm curious on how that team aspect or not having a team aspect could help this 16 machine here.
it's always tricky, especially with teammates when it comes to championship races. With what info you give out, do you give out your secrets? It's really interesting. So I've always been the type of driver, I feel like I accidentally give out my secrets. I'm just a little too nice. Some drivers keep them, bottled up and save them for the race for themselves. But it's just a question of what kind of teammate do you want to be, Sam?
As the drivers see the pace car light is off, we're going this time by for the ISRC Layer Production Truck Series Season 5 Championship. And your top runners, Danny Cochran, John Forbes, Joshua Kanata with Christopher Norris, GT Rizari, as well as Oli Fonseca, your top 6. As the cars get ready to pull off a turn number 4, no more stage racing. It's all about taking it to the end. Who's going to win the Season 5 championship, and who can survive the first couple of corners on the cold tires? Let's find out as Danny Cochran, John Forbes, a great launch on the inside for the 2 machine as they roar down into turn number 1.
Great start from that bottom lane. It's going to be Forbes jumping immediately down, trying to cover off Kanata from trying to get to the inside. Is Kanata the big winner with Fonseca having to mess up on pit road? That's propelled him back up to 3rd.
Back up to 3rd place is the 16. Oli Fonseca, though, he is trying to make his charge forward. He's up to 6, trapped on the outside. Our top 3 is 4 of our championship drivers, and trying to get themselves forward is the rest of the field, and John Forbes not waiting for anyone. He bounces to the outside and wants this lead back.
That he does. He wants the clean air, trying to take advantage of maybe Cochran, just trying to maybe manage his equipment a little bit here. And again, I like to point out, this is going to be the longest run of the race here right now. These guys are going to stretch it much farther than they did in that first stage. So saving some tire might be very important. But John Forbes, I think he feels like track position and clean air are more as the 16 follows the 11 around the 2. And now maybe the 38 of Christopher Norris trying to get up in the mix.
Norris just going to slot back in line with the 2 machine, not going to advance forward just yet. As the grouping of drivers, top 9, top 10, all on top of one another. Within a second is our top 10. You see a shot here. That is everyone trying to find what lane is going to be the faster one. As John Forbes leads the way, Kanata trying to search on where he wants to place the 16 and maybe flirt with the lead is that of Kanata.
And he is. He talked about it in his interview just with us a second ago about clean air. He wanted some of that, and right now, that might be, what he needs to try. If anything, you go out there, try to get the clean air, and you burn your stuff up. Well, at least you went out there and tried something different. You just didn't wait around and run the same way you did in that first stage. So we'll see what Kanata can do right now as he is closing in on the back bumper of that 11.
You see this shot of drivers pick and choosing where to go. 24 bounces to the inside lane. Oli Fonseca is carving his way through this field. He bounced back to 6, now is up to potentially 3rd here as he slides in front of the 2 of Danny Cochran. Fonseca does not want to just let the 11 drive on by, but the 2 of Danny Cochran, the teammate, not just letting his teammate go away, he tries to defend to get that 3rd place back.
He knows he can't just give it up. You got to fight for everything, even if it is your teammate. Is now the problem for Danny Cochran. He's throwing a big block on Christopher Norris, and the thing that did was open up the door for the 30 or the 74 of Nick Crawford. And while all that was happening, Kanata was taking the lead, so everything is going on right now as Christopher Norris sliding down through 3 and 4.
Sliding all around and faces that we don't get to see up front very often. Joshua Kanata leading the way. Started the playoffs off for the 16, winning at Talladega, and now hoping to finish off the playoffs being up front. That he really felt like he was kind of the black sheep coming into this race and be making the Final 4, as well as doing it on Wednesday nights with WSSR. Kanata has been sneakily consistent, and his luck has turned around dramatically compared to last season in his rookie campaign. And Zach, right now, the 16th, proving all the potential at the start of last season is culminated to this moment with Kanata leading the way.
And, if you were able to tell him last season after getting knocked out in that first round of the playoffs, especially after really a pretty good rookie season, we were all pretty impressed with him. We all felt like, he was a contender, as you see these guys dicing it up back here. But to come back this season after getting knocked out in the first round and be here leading laps in the championship race and part of the Final 4, that's huge for him. As Danny Cochran getting moved up out of the way back there for other guys, is Cody Reed kind of using him up.
Cody Reed, a friend of Danny Cochran, kind of a shocker to see It looked like Cody bounced off the apron and came back up to the 2. Trying to settle back in are these drivers, but a big scare for Danny Cochran, who now falls back to 7th place. And Zach, we touched on it, giving up time for the fact of protecting his tires for the longer run. Was it worth that risk of placing yourself in the Hornet's nest?
Yeah, this is tough now because he's fallen in way farther back. Now as Christopher Norris even gets by, he's gonna have the likes of Mason Cassidy, GT Zari, multiple drivers back here. And I know he wants to save them, but how much is too much saving is the question, of course. Is now you're going to see the 38 of Christopher Norris go to the bottom. And again, like you said, it was Cody Reed just clipping that apron that got him up loose. And it was really just Cochran making a basic maneuver not to get hit by the 25. He was like, oh man, I don't know what's going to happen here. And kind of had to back out of that situation. So that was a tough break for the 2. But he's going to try his best to save his stuff and get back up there. But again, look at him closing in behind him, Sam. He can't give up more spots.
He really can. That's going to be Willie Kuntz in the 98 on the inside. Mason Cassidy repping some new colors on the outer lane. And as well, GT Rosari has done a very similar thing to the 2. Danny Cochran backing up and giving up plenty of space. It's both the 2 and the 14. Surprising to see these drivers the way they've just given up time and space. As our top 3 drivers, the championship 3, continue to try to pull away from Danny Cochran.
That they are. They're building gap, and building a gap is huge. And I mean, if this race stays green like we had in the first stage, it's going to be hard for Cochran to make up that second and almost 2-second gap that he has now to the lead group up here. And it's not only that 2-second gap, but it's just the multiple trucks that are in front of him. Each and every time you got to pass the truck, you got to use a little bit more tire. And that's just not what you're going to want to do if you're trying to save your stuff. As now Fonseca attacking the 11 of Forbes once again with that high line there in 1 and 2.
Trying to make this outer lane work with the momentum. Ollie Fonseca being patient, watching the battling between the 11 and the 16, and saying, I'm going to take this in my hands. I feel like I've saved enough tires. It's time to go. As Ollie Fonseca now aims to try to get by Kanata. And Kanata, I mean, again, this is such a surprise to see Kanata leading up front. He has been struggling to take some leading positions for himself this season. I mean, you take outside of this race, Kanata has only led 50 laps total before tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not been. It's been really not a lot of laps led for him in his career here. But what a time to start showing out right now is. Sometimes all it takes is sometimes a driver to get out front, and it triggers. Oh man, this is what clean air feels like. This is what it feels like to be out front. I can push this a little bit harder, and it doesn't hurt my truck as much. It really can be eye-opening experience. Maybe that's what Kanata's experiencing right now. Is he looks good out front.
He looks good up front, and for this race, Joshua Kanata is put down the fastest lap of the race out of everyone. That's looking when they had their freshest tires at the restart, with a 33.3 second time. Everyone else is running around a 33.5 second lap time for their fastest of the whole entire race. So Kanata willing to use a little bit more grip in the early going. This fresh air giving them a chance to fight back, but Ollie Fonseca first opening to take this lead back from the 16. But Kanata gasses it up right below the seam, and that's where you want to be if you're throttling it up early. And the 16 defends well there.
Defends very, very well. And if you're John Forbes, you like what you see in front of you. 2 contenders for the championship that you're battling, fighting hard. And looks like Kanata just going to roll over and get the position. I'm so surprised to see him just hand that over to the 24 and just give up the clean air.
And I'm curious if maybe that's just a confidence thing, where Kanata doesn't really want to cause to create any enemies. It's more of, I'm willing to race everyone with respect, and I'm not going to do anything just yet, as we just crossed over the halfway part of tonight's race, and just give the space that we need before we fight on back. And John Forbes and Ollie Fonseca, I think they've been the 2 that have been willing to put on the best show, and we're fighting and scrapping for every position.
That they have, and right now Forbes already by Kanata, and just got to wonder if Kanata's starting to struggle a little bit, giving up these spots that easily, not really fighting too hard for those positions. And we'll see that Forbes save enough now too because Fonseca, you got to think about him. He slid through his box, had to restart around 6th, so he definitely had to push hard to get up here in this mix. If you're John Forbes, you really are liking, I think, the position you've been in.
Looking at the drivers inside of our top 7, 4 of the 7 are our championship 4, but also 4 out of the 7 are going to be that of Snowy Desert Racing drivers. You've got John Forbes, Nick Crawford, Cody Reed, Christopher Norris, all inside of our top 7. And right now, most of Snowy Desert Racing trying to hold back Danny Cochran, who doesn't want to be held back anymore. Bounces it to the inside, trying 3 wide with Christopher Norris, and trying to make the big move as the 2, not wanting to be held back anymore by the Snowy Desert crew.
Close racing there between that group, but Cochran has to make these passes quick and concise. He cannot get in trouble. He can get, caught up in a battle with this group here. He really needs to continue his way forward and not let this group just get so far out ahead of him. But, he's been patient all night, and I think it might pay off well. We talked about giving up those spots, but he's already made up 2 of them. Now going to set his sights on Nick Crawford. It looks like Forbes going for the lead up front.
Bounces to the inside is John Forbes. Gave Ollie his couple laps for the lead position, and now the 11 trying to slide job move off the exit of turn 2. Not able to fully commit just yet. He'll stay to the inside as they drag race their way down into turn number 3. Danny Cochran's going to be trying to make a move to go up into 4th. But our top 2 drivers, Ollie Fonseca, John Forbes. Forbes brushing up, almost contact off the exit of the corner as that of Ollie Fonseca aggressively pinching and not allowing the 11 to get up to speed.
That was some very, very aggressive pitching, but I tell you what, this is a championship race. You can't blame Ollie at all. He is putting everything on the line, and he knows giving up this clean air can be the end of everything. And he's fighting so hard there. Is Forbes just not able to clear? He's going to fall back in line. Is Cochran now trying to get past the 74 Nick Crawford and get himself up in 4th?
Top 4, championship 4. All they have to do is finish ahead of each other, and you find yourself with the championship. You don't need to win, but it might take a win to get into the championship. As we are going to take a quick moment to shout out our sponsors, because we haven't been able to do that just yet. It's probably the calmest it's been. So we want to give a huge shout out to our title sponsor of the ISRC Truck Series, being Larry Art Productions. Larry Art Productions, a comedy review YouTube channel that give you a good laugh and as well some great information. Go check out Larry Art Productions on YouTube and Instagram today. Thank you for being the title sponsor for the ISRC Truck Series for Season 5. And as well, a huge shout out to the Laugh Lap. The Laugh Lap, your quality daily meme channel of checking out racing related memes on Instagram. Go to _laugh_lap to get your Instagram laughs today. And we talked about them in our qualifying results. That's Orchid Moon Tattoo Studios. Head on over to Instagram and go look up at Orchid Moon Tattoo Studios and see their wide range of tattoos for yourself. And the last sponsor, who was our stage sponsor as well, that's Team Watson Racing Setups. If you need your setups today, racing on the Open Series on iRacing, go head on over to Team Watson Racing Setups to go get your win and victory. Thank you so much to the amazing sponsors, as we will step away ourselves here. Thank you so much for watching Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. It's been an incredible year of 2023 and a season for the Truck Series as you are watching the Season 5 Championship at Homestead. What a good one it's been. We will be back to give you the end of the coverage of who's winning the championship here tonight.
5 wide behind for fifth. Oh my, the 5 wide here. This ain't gonna work. They make it last. Bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here, coming off a 4. That's it.
It's bottom line, here it comes. Oh no, Carter gets wrecked. It's gonna be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Trinity diving down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes, Cedric Hunter. He does it. He steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck him.
Oh, they wrecked! They wrecked each other! The top two bounced into one another. Just too much of side drifting off of, and they gotta be careful. Oh no! And the 4 demolishes in the 28. Caution is out in issues for championship contenders as entering pit road, almost collision on the entry of pit road between John Forbes and Danny Cochran, but contact between John Forbes and Ollie Fonseca exit turn 4, and also collected in the mix as we see the replay here is Joshua Kanata. Bad bump on the center of the corner. Forbes not expecting the big slowdown. Kanata comes in with a slight bump, and Christopher Norris finishing the job on the 16. Bam, Zach, that is our championship contenders' first incident of the night.
Oh man, Sam, this is just, whew, this has changed everything. Because I mean, that's 2 championship contenders involved, or really 3 of them involved in it. Is you'll see from Kanata's point of view, just know where to go, and that's hits on the front end. That's not what you want if you're the 16. I think he's personally going to take the worst out of this. Luckily for Fonseca, I think he should be able to fix that truck up. Big thing for him, it's going to be a loss of track position.
And just a lot of contact there late. Christopher Norris was riding on board with him, trying to get a sense on what 38 had. It just looked like he reacted a little bit slow on the incident, jabbed the brakes, and lost control, ran into that of the 16. And now what once was the cream rises to the top. Well, now it's a little scattered and mixed. As Ollie Fonseca going to be in the middle of all this. Kanata still in pit road, just leaving now after getting some damage repair done. But it looks like there's still some optional repairs that need to be served. And it's John Forbes, Danny Cochran, our front runners, as we're not in a zone that really is going to help out this field. Zach, the fuel mileage still is going to be very tricky from this point on.
It really is actually going to be very tricky. I mean, you're not going to be able to make it from here. So, personally, Sam, I mean, the way this looks is this is going to be similar to our stage. Very, very similar, actually. It's so just a tiny bit shorter. So I expect around 30 lap runs here, and we're going to definitely get these guys getting aggressive because of just how short those runs are going to be, I think.
And also what makes this interesting is because of the timing of our stage yellow, the fact that the drivers had to pit before the stage, now this caution, drivers have used 3 of their 4 sets in pit road already. That means their whole entire field only has 1 more set of tires to work with from here on out. So if you do decide to extend your pit stop, maybe save a set for an incident that could happen later on, or you take that set at the halfway point of a green flag run, you got to figure out that timing just in case we get a late caution.
The timing can be everything. It's always about finding that perfect timing for it, for sure. So we'll just see who can get that done. But man, with how this has played out, this has shook things up so much. Danny Cochran back up the second after narrowly missing his teammate Ollie Fonseca. He is very lucky not to catch the left front on the rear bumper of that 24, because that would have been, you know, just damage you don't want to the front end. Anytime you're at a track where aerodynamics are a huge factor, like the mile and a half intermediate places are, you do not want any damage anywhere near the front end of your race car, because that is where the aero platform begins. And if you have a bad start to that aero platform, it only makes things down the road that much worse. So definitely these drivers, you know, suing a sigh of relief there from the 2 team as they got past their teammate record.
Well, now we can say each driver's had some type of a scare or incident that has popped up here this evening. John Forbes got on the outside wall at one moment during this race. Danny Cochran almost had an incident with Cody Reed, but Ollie Fonseca and Joshua Kanata of our rest of our championship 4 are dealing with the most damage. from their incident. As the field getting ready to go back to green flag racing, it's John Force, Danny Cochran going to be the front two. Then they've got Nick Crawford, GT Rosario, Malik Kuntz. How are they going to set up on this restart? Let's find out as the Season 5 Championship is back underway into the restart zone. Cold tires, a little bit more of single file racing happening behind the field as they'll stay side by side for the lead position.
What a great start from the outside from the 2 machine there. Danny Cochran is able to stay right alongside the 11, side draft them through 1 and 2, and it's going to have the preferred position going down the back straightaway. Now Nick Crawford up to 3rd. He's going to decide who he wants to push, but of course, probably most likely going to go for that teammate of John Forbes as the 2 tries to clear.
Let's Danny Cochran be aggressive here. Remember, Danny kind of needed that yellow in some fashion. He backed off, lost a lot of ground, was bringing it back. As issues, it's the 1 machine of Mar Morales. A big slide off the exit of Force. Keeps it off the inside pit wall. Ooh, a big scare for the 1 machine, but we stay green. But for Danny Cochran, how much of that knowledge on that last stint is he willing to give up time to fall back and then come back and try to catch back up? Because like you said, this is a shorter run than even our stage. Driver's got a lot to think about as updating on Oliver Fonseca up to 7th, really working that outside groove. And for Joshua Kanata, doesn't look good for the 16, but at least up to 9.
Yeah, not looking good for the 16 for sure, but like you said, anything is still possible for him if he stays on the lead lap. If these guys go up here and get into a wreck, I mean, we've seen the 11 and 24 make contact. I mean, maybe the 24 repays the favor, but I think more than anything, he's just focused on trying to go get the win and get that track position back, as it's going to be much shorter runs this time for sure, Sam. And I'm thinking personally, pit road is going to be getting very busy around like 125 to 120. We could really start to see people actually start to push it around there.
Slight wiggle off the exit of turn 4 from Malik Kuntz in front of Cody Reed in the pink machine. Up front, Danny Cochran, John Forbes. They are keeping it close between one another. And John Forbes flirting with disaster again, being right on the back bumper off the exit of the corner. And if Danny slips up in any motion or moment in time, and we could see almost a little bit of deja vu that happened to his teammate of Ollie Fonseca.
That we really could have deja vu for sure. You don't want to see that. That would be so unfortunate to have that happen there to the 2 of Danny Cochran. He doesn't want to get spun off the nose of the 11, but this is the games you kind of play. I don't know if, looking back at that incident with the 24 and the 11, was the 24 just kind of, just holding on out front, just trying to drive just fast enough to save it? I mean, keep the lead, but also save your tires, because that's kind of the cat and mouse game we play in this, in iRacing. Is we've all got the same setups. Every truck out here has the same potential behind it. But really the biggest difference is your driving and your tire wear. So that's how you manipulate it. You got to go a little bit slower, but you want to keep the clean air to keep the downforce. So you slow up different parts of the track. So it's always that cat and mouse game, and that's why you get this yo-yo effect that everybody's stacking up like we got.
Stacking up, trying to give space. Stacked 3 wide as Cody Reed stays to that outer groove. Ollie Fonseca trying to stay there as well. Malik Kuntz stuck in the middle for a quick moment as they slot back in line. It's side by side, 3 rows deep. And Danny Cochran leads the way, gaining a huge push from the 11. But Cody Reed in the 25, Zach, he sees the stack up, he sees the motion, and the 25 ripping the top and trying to aim for the lead already.
I think this just shows you how much there's being a little bit of saving going on from the 2 out front who's trying to keep the lead, but the 11, I think, is trying not to use up his stuff either. But all these drivers who have nothing to lose, they're going for it right now, Sam, and they're ripping the top as the 2's going a little loose. He's going to wash up the track, and now the 11 to the inside of him. It's going to maybe put him 3 wide there as the 98's in the battle.
Stack up, top 7, all within almost a half a second. Put a blanket over these 5 drivers. There's not enough space to just give. Bad slip up, you can find yourself in danger. Cody Reed already almost a full second ahead of these guys because of how hard they're racing. Malik Kuntz, that of Nick Crawford, outside lane, racing for nothing. It is all about pride for the 98 and the 74. That's Danny Cochran, John Force. It's just trapped on the inside groove. And GT Rosario trying to figure out where to place the 14.
Oh man, everything is getting a little bit more spicy right now as the 2 is just, I think, really trying to manage his equipment because he knows he's the lead driver of the group right now. He doesn't have to win this race, but everybody else around him has so much sense of urgency. And here also comes Ollie Fonseca. He's right behind this group. Our 3 of our top 4 right here on top of each other once again.
They are being swarmed right now. And the only driver that's not here, Josh Panada, extremely off the pace. That damage that he picked up from our first on-track incident is looking very dangerous. He needs some help of other drivers to get into some more carnage, or he's going to need some time to get some repairs, as 3 of our 4 championship drivers on screen and being pushed and wooed is going to be the 6 machine, but Ollie Fonseca doesn't want to wait. The 24 outside lane, he's now the lead driver of our championship 4.
Back to the point for Ollie Fonseca after getting spun. I mean, what a job by him. How much did it take the life out of the tires? But I tell you what, again, this is going to be a short run. These guys only, in my opinion, only got about another 20 laps left in this run before they're going to want to pit. So if you're Ollie, I love what you're doing. Just send it.
You got the tires, why not utilize them? As the 6, Justin Smith, really putting a pinching motion on the 11, not giving any space. And that is shocking to see from a driver that's really running for nothing. But Justin Smith and his team and Malik Coons have had issues with John Force throughout the season. So I'm not surprised to see that they're racing a little bit more aggressive between drivers that maybe had a target on their back coming into tonight's race.
That it has. You build enemies throughout the season, and it can come back to bite you. It seems like the 6 was super aggressive with the side, really the pinching. And again, almost doing this similar to Danny Cochran. They're getting right to the quarter panel, but now the 11 to his quarter panel. This is a dangerous game to be playing here if you're the 2 and the 11. You do not want to get mixed up into this with the 6 and the 14 well off pace.
GT Irizarry, that slip up off the exit of the corner and decides to just get out of the way. Issues for the 14. And this might bring out a yellow because he's got to park it on the apron. I think he might not have fueled up completely with GT Irizarry.
Oh no, and he's still sitting there. I'm surprised he hasn't towed yet. This is an interesting sight to see that he hasn't got back to pit road. And here comes the field. If he doesn't get towed here in the next few moments, and he's actually just starting to pull away right now, what is going on, Sam?
He needs to tow. He needs to tow now. He's on a spot. Luckily, he's off track, so there won't be a yellow thrown. He'll finally take the tow to pit road. But if a yellow flag was thrown, a yellow flag's thrown. Issues up inside of the wall, and that's going to be Danny Cochran. Issues for the 2.
Oh no, was it him and the 6 involved in that? I don't know. I think that might have been the 6 and the 2 involved.
And they moved.
It was?
Yeah.
Wow.
Justin Smith. And there's been issues of the league really being frustrated with the 6 and his driving style around drivers, not really giving respect to the championship 4. And Danny Cochran, who was on the hunt to grab himself a 2nd championship and be the first driver to be a 2-time champion. His chances look to be done and dusted. Here's the replay that happened. The 6 was being aggressive. He was fighting and pinching, and this time it bit Danny Cochran, and wiping out the 2 is the 6 machine. And you hate to see that on a championship race. And for Danny Cochran, required damage, his championship hopes are done.
I'm gonna flat out say it. It's one of the worst things of driving I've seen, man. That's flat out unacceptable. I mean, if we seen the way that happened, the 6 just comes down the racetrack with no disregard for the 2. Or the 2 is running his line. The 6 is, made the corners, made it committed right here, but just continues and says, "No, I'm coming down the racetrack." And I mean, Rex a championship contender, man. I'm sorry, but that's just not how I think you should race.
It's unfortunate to see, especially to Danny Cochran, a past champion, and the 6 able to continue to race on after wiping out and taking out Danny Cochran. I mean, maybe it wasn't on purpose, but he cranked it down, didn't take out the 11, instead took out the 2, which was kind of shocking. I thought if he was going to take out anyone, it would have been John Forbes, but not this case. And that is a sad moment. And now we're down, Zach, to 2 drivers on full song. That's going to be Ollie Fonseca and John Forbes that are the 2 drivers that are dealing with the least amount of damage of our championship 4, which Ollie Fonseca was already caught up in an incident early on.
Yeah, and this is all shook up now because they've all come to pit road. They've gotten service done, and it seems like we've had some strategy with Christopher Norris and Eric Stamp. It looks like, I don't know if they even took tires. I think they might have just took fuel. It looks like Nick Crawford, he's got 4 tires and fuel from their own back. But you're gonna have John Forbes, Ali Fonseca back here 5th and 7th, I believe, at the moment. And or sorry, I think it'll be 5th and 6th once we get everything lined up. But man, oh man, this is shook things up. And if you're Kanata in 10th place right now, we must say, you never know what could happen here. John Forbes and Ali Fonseca, they've already had their little bit of a run in here tonight. What if that continues on? If you're Joshua Kanata, do not give up. This is still in your window.
And for Josh Ganata, it looks like he has gotten all his repairs done. He was not in pit road for extended time, got a little bit of more repairs done. So we'll see what this 16 is at now. And with everyone using up their tires, this has now put everyone in a pretty similar spot of, well, if a yellow flag comes out, there's only about 3 other guys that still have a set to work with. But watch out for these front 2, mainly because Christopher Norris, he's dealing with some slight damage on that 38. Remember, he was caught up in that instant running into Joshua Kanata earlier on in our second caution of the day. And Eric Stamp, we'll see what Stamp has, as both these drivers did not pit during this run. And the last time they came into pit road, they just topped off on fuel back 16 laps ago.
Yeah, this is the it's going to be fun to see what those old tires do up front. Of course, with these drivers restarting there, but and it's surprising not to see them take tires just due to how many sets we had here tonight, 5 coming in. So, you know, you had to take that green flag stop there to take a set. So that's going to be already 2 used, then take another set after the stage. That is going to be another set used. So I can see why you want to save, you know, that extra set there, Sam, because if this thing gets a little bit dicey, but man, they're not going to have the greatest takeoff speed up front here.
They should not be, and this is going to be risky on where you place yourself, as Christopher Norris is going to be on the inside lane. He's got a few teammates behind him to work with. He's got Nick Crawford, John Forbes. Outside lane, it's Eric Stamp, Cody Reed, and Ali Fonseca. And now it's down to the 2. Ali Fonseca, Nick Crawford. They're dealing with the least amount of damage. Danny Cochran still in pit road with required damage. I believe he's got a blown engine. That means he might not even come back, Zach, out on track with 2 laps to go. That might be it. But his night looks to be completely done. Joshua Kanata is in 9th place, but he's got some pretty hefty damage that he collected under our second caution of the day. Does the 16 still have a hope? He needs some help, and that's going to be the drivers up front of Christopher Norris and Eric Stamp. What are the tires going to look like on this restart? Cross your fingers, hope for the best. This could be a mess that these drivers are about to get into, as the ISRC Larry Art Productions Truck Series Season 5 Championship race just had one of its most controversial moments, but is that going to be topped on this restart? We're back to green flag action. Inside lane, got a good launch. Christopher Norris moves up, gets out of the way for Nick Crawford, Cody Reed, John Forbes, as Snowy Desert taking the sweeping lead for all 4 drivers.
That's the huge thing to say right here. 4 Snowy Desert Racing drivers, and then you got Ali Fonseca. What do they do with him? How hard do they race him? Is right now is 3 wide down the back straightaway, and that was close to contact with Cody Reed there.
Cody Reed is going to be forcing Ali Fonseca back. Christopher Norris, old tires, still going to be on the outer roof. Same with Eric Stamp. But the 24 of Ali Fonseca does not want to deal with this team. And it's just been it's kind of a rivalry. Juan Ferraro into the outside wall in the front stretch, got loose, tried to overcorrect it, sent it, and decided to collect another drivers, takes himself out of the situation. We stay green. Nick Crawford up top, trying to see if John Forbes could close in the gap. But the 24, Zach, I mean, this is difficult. You've got yourself recognizing, okay, if there's a caution, we got to protect these tires, but I need to fight to get by these machines and catch up to John Forbes.
That you are, you know, the risk versus reward here is big time here, man. This is what it all comes down to. And Fonseca's so close last season. He does not want to come up once again just a little bit short. And right now, he's trying to close it down as it looks like Forbes going to take the lead from his teammate Nick Crawford, who doesn't seem to fight him one bit at all. And right now, we also got some sliding farther back. I think Justin Smith there got a little bit loose.
Justin Smith, who took out Danny Cochran and took out the chances of a championship, still out on track, going to be in 8th place. And teammates going to be defending and blockers to hold back Ali Fonseca. I mean, Zach, you look at Snowy Desert Racing, the teamwork aspect's been kind of difficult to do throughout the playoffs, as only one of the 4 made it to the final 4 for themselves, but they certainly, when they are on it, Snowy Desert Racing can be one of the toughest teams to pass, and they're going to show you why here as the exit out of turn number 2. It's 3 teammates in line, and Ali Fonseca all on his lonesome, and in 5th place, it's the one of Martin Morales Jr.
What a job by Martin to be up here in 5th. At one point, Sam, it was a couple restarts ago, off of 4 right here. He was looking at the inside wall, had a big save, and that save kept him in the battle. And guess what? Now up into the top 5, and here he is right on the back bumper of the championship contender of Ali Fonseca. Great race here from this one team.
And Mark Morales trying to get redemption. You could say redemption is kind of the key phrase throughout this season. Drivers trying to come back and go for a fight and a win. Mark Morales almost won race number 2 this season at Las Vegas. Got his nose and got spun around off the exit of going into turn number 1 at Las Vegas on the white flag. Instead, he's now running some of our championship contenders as aggressively as he can. This one machine, surprisingly, putting Ali Fonseca on the back foot.
And he is. This is surprising to see this one challenge this 24, but I'm thinking the 24 might be managing right now. He knows he's got 2 teammates in between him and John Forbes that are probably going to fight him pretty decently hard to not allow him to go up there and fight their teammate for a championship. But, you know, the question's going to be for Ali is, can he save enough tire right here in this moment to make easy passes to where he'll have an opportunity to get to 11? Because if he just tries to bulldoze through here, it's not going to work well. I think he needs to be patient like he is being right now.
Last season for Ali Fonseca, it was him leading the race, and it was the 24 against the world. Tonight, it's the opposite. It's still Ali against the world, but he's got to now be the attacker and make some passes as Mark Morales, once again, throws it down to the inside and forcing Ali to run that middle seam where it just doesn't look like Ollie's been looking comfortable in that position. Even though he's got slightly fresher air on the corners, it's just he's using up those tires a little bit more than he like.
That he is. He's definitely getting pushed a little bit by this one and maybe using those tires on him a little more than he'd like. And, you know, the big thing for him is he has a giant gap behind that one to where if he falls behind Martin, he could save a good little bit here and have no pressure on the rear bumper. So we'll see if he elects to do this at some point, or will he continue to try to fight off this one and, you know, maybe use up a little tire just to keep that little bit of track position.
Fighting for everything here are these front runners as we got 30 laps to go here tonight to crown a season 5 champion. You got John Forbes, who's been here since day 1, hoping that he could find himself in a victory lane. And for Forbes, he got his first win in season 2, and it was the start of the season at Daytona. He made the Final 4 2 times, counting tonight. His other chance was back in season 2, wiped out at this track off the exit turn 1 right at the beginning of the race. Ali Fonseca, though, and Mark Morales, a big scare off the exit of the corner. Ali Fonseca, this is his second chance for a championship. He made it last season, but Zach, this one just seems a little bit more personal for Ali Fonseca.
It definitely does. It's been a little bit more gritty for sure, and a little bit more of a tougher on his side of things getting there. I mean, I look back to Martinsville, got wrecked from the lead position late in that race, thought he had the victory, had to come back from that, make the next few rounds, and he's done it. I mean, he's gotten here, but now he has to run down that 11 before we're done with this 150-lap event, and time is slowly, unfortunately, clicking away for him.
Officially has left the server. Danny Cochran is done. No longer will have a chance to be a 2-time champ. We are going to have a first-time champion. 5 seasons, 5 different champions, and Zach, it looks to be down to just 2 drivers, Ali Fonseca, John Forbes. I've been looking at Joshua Kanata's lap times, and he's just been getting slower and slower on the long run. He is struggling for the 16. He needs Calamity to strike for both the 11 and the 24 if Kanata, and the biggest underdog of the night, is going to win this championship.
Yeah, he's going to need a lot of help, that's for sure. He's going to need some luck and a lot of help, so we'll see if the 16, you know, something falls into his lap here, but he's definitely going to need something to happen to these top 2 up front. But right now, if you're Forbes, you got to feel so confident just knowing the fact that you have your teammate Cody Reed and Nick Crawford right behind you. That's just got to instill a lot of confidence into him, and also seeing Ali start to drop back into the clutches of drivers farther behind him. So this is a huge moment right here if you're the 11, of just take a deep breath and just try to keep on clicking laps off.
I mean, for John Forbes, this season's kind of been a climb for himself. He got the win that really set him off on the right trail of going and making a chance for the playoff run for himself. But really, it was a fight of points for John Forbes, because he got the win at Chicagoland, but before that, he found himself being suspended on iRacing after some off-track incidences that were never a part of the league, but he missed 2 weeks of racing action. The 11th still fought and climbed, got the win at Chicagoland, and made it into the playoffs, where at moments he thought maybe he was going to be knocked out, showed consistency, showed strength and grit. And with 25 laps to go, John Forbes' hands, he's hoping they're still crossed, and he's hoping that this race continues to stay green.
That he is. He really does not want to see any type of yellow or stoppage to this race, because, I mean, at the moment, he's about 2/10, almost 3/10 a lap faster than Ali Fonseca. So, yeah, that's something you want to see when you're racing in a championship race with less than 25 laps to go. So, Forbes right now, definitely feeling comfortable, but is Fonseca saving something? That's my huge question. You know, he's been just as fast as Forbes all night long when it comes to the 25, 30 lap runs. Seems like right at the end he does start to fall off, but I wonder if he's taking a little advice or a little bit of learning from that too of his teammate Danny Cochran, and maybe just saving a little bit more this run to see if it comes back around.
I mean, saving, but I think those tires might have gone away. With the pressure of Mark Morales on the back foot of this 24, he has constantly had to throttle up, hasn't been able to really, and doesn't want to. Came over the radio, said, if this was any other race, I would have given you that spot, but I need to defend for my position, just in case the yellow flag comes out. So all he's using is tires. It doesn't seem like he's in safe mode. He's just trying to hold his position just in case an incident happens further back in the field, where there really aren't a lot of situations with such a small field that's out on track. We only have 13 drivers on track currently. And for Ollie, it's him and Martin that are the closest and in most danger if something were to go wrong.
Once again, the 24 just the one getting to the inside of that 24. Now the 14, or sorry, yeah, that stuff is at the 14. Yeah, it is 14 at GT, or sorry, who's 3 laps down after his bizarre moment there. I think he had to come to a sudden stop on the track to get out of the sim, and just unfortunately was with those 3 laps down, because right now he's passing Fonseca.
It's behind and putting further back is Ollie Fonseca, and if you've been reading the chat, you can tell Fonseca's the fan favorite of everyone here, and it just doesn't look like the fanfare to what's going on track is going to mix well, as Josh Kanata has been able to get by Christopher Norris, Joshua Freed, and Tyler Dangler, but holds in 9th place, but so off the pace right now, about 8/10 off of what the leaders are putting down, 4/10 off of some of the drivers in front of him. Just Kanata, after that collision that he had with Christopher Norris, there was no chance of recovering after that damage, and it's just a stay out there and fight for what you can, but probably the toughest 20 laps to run for Kanata, knowing that his hopes for a championship are practically over.
I've been in the position before, Sam, myself. It's, yeah, when you have 20 laps to go in a race and you see there's, a minuscule amount of chance and opportunity for you to go and get that championship that you so wanted to do, it's tough to complete those laps. You almost want to give up, but you can't, because you never know in racing. Something can happen. We've seen crazier things. I mean, it really, really can happen where just wild stuff is a part of racing. So you got to stay in it, but at the same time, it's tough to get those laps in that season, knowing that you failed to complete what your goal was.
Well, some of the closest drivers out on track that could change up the factor of this race is going to be Joshua Freed and Tyler Dangler. They're close to one another, but also watching out for the 6th of Justin Smith. Him and Mark Morales starting to close in closer and closer. But the 6 machine, he's already cost one of the championship drivers a chance for the championship here tonight. Could he gift an opportunity for Ollie Fonseca to get back into the mix?
He very well could possibly. I mean, if they get a little bit dicey here, as a big slip off the 4 for him, as he almost ends up wrecking in. That's not what you want to see if you're John Forbes up front. You don't want to hear about anybody getting that sideways to where they could possibly bring out a yellow and affect this championship, but just have to see how this plays out, as the 6 is going to rip the top here 1 and 2 and try to attack the 1 with that speed down the backstretch.
Trying to attack, trying to close in, but everyone's spacing out further and further as this run progresses. 18 laps to go before Season 5 is in the books. And for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we've got some exciting news that we're going to be sharing next month. We've got some events, if you know, for us here at Freaking Fast Broadcasting, we're known for putting charity events going on. Well, November, going to be sharing out our next charity event. Will be starting in 2024. Exciting news, Zach. I know we're in the books of trying to figure out what that next charity event's going to be. We know it's with the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, but the question is, what vehicle and what track will that race be at?
Oh man, it's gonna be fun to see what we do when we announce that. It's always a pleasure, man, to do those charity races. We did a great job in 2023. In 2024, we're only going to look to exceed those goals that we set last season. So I can't wait to see what we can produce, because it's only been great from here on out. As right now, you're looking to the man up front, the guy who's looking to get this done, looking to win his first championship, and is driving away. I mean, he's got to feel really good right now, Sam. This is probably the most comfortable he's been all night after, I mean, really, it's been a battle. I mean, it's literally been tooth and nail between the top four all night long, but right now it's been the most calm and most, really, I think, comforting it's been for this 11.
I mean, John Forbes had to beat all of the trends that usually are here at that of Homestead. You know, looking at the past, if you got the pole, you didn't look like you were going to get the win, nor have we seen anyone get the pole who's led the most laps or won the race combined. And John Forbes is trying to do all three here tonight and take the championship. 15 laps to go, about to be 14, as John Forbes continues to pull away with the comfortable positions 11's in. Again, this is still the most stressful couple of laps, and he's got a great person in his ear, spotter Logan Clampett, to give him information, calm him down. I mean, that's a great person to have in your ear, Zach, to help you while you're leading this race and have the fate of the end of this race with all the drivers behind you.
Oh, no doubt. That's a that's a common voice, I would say, behind you, just telling you, hey man, you're pulling away, you're doing everything you need to do, just keep on hitting your marks, and nobody's got nothing for you. I mean, it definitely helps when you got, you know, the likes of a professional driver telling you, you know, everything's going well. It definitely can give you that reassurance, and I think that's really cool to see that Logan took his time out tonight to come help this 11 out, and it may have been for a perfect reason, because it looks like he's going to go on to win this championship if everything stays smooth right now.
That's the key. Stay smooth. 13 laps to go. The closest drivers are on track as the battling going on for 5th place, as Malik Kuntz is caught up to the one machine of Mark Morales, and trying to make this pass cleanly over one will do so. Justin Smith, teammate of Malik, trying to follow in the tire tracks and keep on rails as they're closing in on Ollie Fonseca for 4th place, and Ollie just a sitting duck. The pace just isn't there anymore for the 24. He needs a yellow, and maybe if there was an extra set of tires in pit road, would have loved to see those, but at this point, it's just settle and wait. And if you're in Ollie's position, Zach, I mean, this is a weird spot to be, but technically you don't have to be super aggressive. You could just, because you've lost so much ground, keep saving and hoping for a yellow flag, so then your tires are at a much better state than John Forbes up front.
I think that's his only hope right now. He has to do something. He's 5 seconds back. You're not running down somebody in 11 laps, 5 seconds back here at Homestead, Miami. It's just, that's not going to happen with the same exact tires. So if you're the 24, I think right now you got to throw it in cruise control and just hope for some type of yellow to allow you to have a restart, to try to have some type of better tire for when we get to that restart. So we'll see if we get that yellow, but if not, Ollie fought once again just to come up a little bit short. But I tell you what, this experience that he keeps building, getting here to this Final Four, competing for these race wins, competing for these championships, that's what's going to build him up to a point where one day he will get that championship.
I mean, I asked Ollie, how would it feel to win the championship? And he said it would be a dream. I mean, he felt like the progression that he's made from when he joined back in season 2 to now has been way faster than he even expected for himself. It's been an incredible climb of finding that speed, as the 24, his first race was all the way back in February 28th of 2022, and he has been growing, he's been getting faster, and he's got himself a couple of wins here in the Truck Series, and for Ollie, another Final Four attempt, but he's gonna have to settle for now, as John Forbes, been here since day one, is Forbes. He's on the list of all-time starters. If you look at the starting list of drivers that have shown up for races, he's up there in the top. Tonight was going to be Cody Reed's 90th start, and for John Forbes, it was going to be his 88th start ever running in the Truck Series. And what a crazy stat to think of. And Zach, it's even crazier to think we've been covering this league since day one. We've watched every champion come through and get into victory lane, get themselves that trophy that they've always been searching for. And this 11, we've been watching him grow. We've seen the highs, we've seen the lows. And John Forbes, 8, soon to be 7 laps away from saying that he's a champion of the ISRC Truck Series if we stay green.
What a title to add to his illustrious career already, man. He's had so many wins, so many great ones too, and like he's had his ups, he's had his downs. I mean, you look at this season, he had to miss a few races because he got suspended off of iRacing. I mean, the guy definitely has had his down moments, but you could just tell in these playoffs something changed, man. It's just, again, the consistency clicked. He was always there. It wasn't, 1 week where Forbes is, a top 3 car a truck to where 1 week he's a top 8 truck. It was just consistently each week in and week out, right there in the top 5, consistent competing for wins. And that's what you got to do if you want to go win a championship. And I think that's just bleeding over into what he's doing right now, especially with all the series he's running. You got to look at the, like you said, the likes of the college series he runs in. That only makes you tougher when you run tougher competition.
Yeah, in that college series, they've been running in the trucks, giving even more experience for John Forbes. And coming into tonight, looked at the averages of where you started, your starts and finishes at the mile and a half this season. Coming into tonight's race, John Forbes had probably the best average of those. You get the second best average on starts with a 5.3 position starting place in the 3 mile and a half tracks before tonight. And he had the best finishing average of 3.3, finishing third at Atlanta earlier in the playoffs. Then he got the win at Chicagoland, and back in season 2 got 6th at Las Vegas. Now winning here tonight with 5 laps to go, John Forbes' average is going to get a little bit closer to that 2 marker after tonight's run. John Forbes is really taking a lot of what he's experienced over these 5 seasons and trying to capitalize on it here tonight.
It really seems like it's all built up and come to somewhat of a head here tonight. So just a awesome moment for John if he can continue on to this. And 4 laps to go here at Homestead, Miami. I mean, this is when the nerves start to kick in. It's only 4 laps to go. You got the gap built. There's no pressure there. The only thing that's on your mind is just how long these final 4 laps or really these 3 laps are to get to that white flag, Sam. It's just so nerve-wracking when you're a driver, but as soon as the white flag comes out, your nerves all go away.
White flag would turn this race official, and even if there's a wreck on that white flag, the race would conclude. But for the next 2 laps, it's chaos. You're waiting, you're hoping no yellow flag will come out. The drivers that are the closest between one another would be Malik Kuntz and Ollie Fonseca battling back for 4th place. But the 11, no one's even close to him. He's just running his own pace. And through that of 3 and 4, John Forbes is aiming for the white flag, but he's got 1 more lap to go before that.
That he does. He'll come across the line. It's going to be 2 laps to go. 3 miles here at Homestead, Miami. 3 more miles for this season here at ISRC. And we're going to close it out with 1 more champion, possibly another possible new champion, because it looks like the only other multi-time champion, or the only other champion that was in this fight, is knocked out of the race. So we're going to get a new one regardless, but it looks like the 11 is possibly going to get it done, Sam.
Through 3 and 4, John Forbes, he has been dreaming about this. He's been wanting this since season 1. He didn't get his first win until season 2. Then he figured out, hey, why not rattle them off as the lap white flag is out in the air for this 11 machine. John Forbes just needed to hit his marks. He just needed to be consistent. And that's exactly what he did. He had 2 wins coming into tonight. He had 9 top 5s, which put him in 2nd. He had tied with the most top 10s at 13. We'll bump those numbers up as onto the backstretch into turn number 3. John Forbes, 5 seasons, 5 long seasons, 2 years of battling and climbing. And out of turn number 4, John Forbes is a champion for the ISRC Lariat Production Truck Series.
Congrats to John Forbes. Like you said, 2 long years of fighting and 5 full seasons, he finally gets it done, adding his name to the list of many other greats that have come along. And man, once again, 5 seasons, 5 different champions.
That is probably the craziest stat of them all, because the 5 champions we've had, what a group of drivers John Forbes is joining with them. He had Vincent Sora back in season 1 after his win at Atlanta. Then in season 2, it was the rookie of Trent Jump stealing the win here at Homestead. Season 3, Danny Cochran finally capitalized on his runs. Last season, it was Nick Crawford beating out that of Ali Fonseca. And after all the woes, after all the turmoils, the lows, the highs, John Forbes gets to celebrate with his team and for himself. He is the champion for season 5. What a season, what an incredible one it was, as John Forbes and the rest of his Snowy Desert crew get prepared to burn it down on the front stretch, as John Forbes gets his own sign to burn it down. But for us, Zach, I mean, this 11 put it all on the line. It was a lot of teamwork. He's got to give a lot of graces to his teammates Nick Crawford and Cody Reed, but the 11 put in the time, the effort, the work, and he comes away with the championship.
Yeah, I mean, no better way to finish it out with, you as a champion and your 2 teammates there in 2nd and 3rd. And, it's also, I think this will make 2 years in a row a Snowy Desert Racing driver has took home a championship. So that team there on a roll.
They have been certainly on a roll, and they continue on with the trend. Congratulations to John Forbes. When we come back, we'll talk to John Forbes, Nick Crawford, Cody Reed, and someone else as well right after this for our post-race show. Season 5 is concluded, but we will be back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show for the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series Season 5 Championship, as we are heading to victory lane and to give off the trophy to the driver that put in all the work, all the fight. He's been here since Season 1, and now is up to the second most winningest driver in the ISRC Truck Series, and the 5th different champion, your most recent ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series champion. We got John Forbes with us. John, congratulations on the win. And man, how are you feeling? You are a champion now in the Truck Series.
It's been a long time coming, and tonight the pieces just went our way, and wow, all the training, all the practice I've put into this week, like I didn't know what the other guys were doing. I wanted to make sure I just had a shot tonight, and wow, it went almost perfect my way.
That really did, John. I tell you, man, it definitely went about as good as it could, because guess what? You are the champion, man. So first off, congrats on that. First off, man, it's definitely a long time coming, like you said. But take us through the ending there, because you had your teammates behind you. How comforting did that feel to have, that little bit of buffer room there once
Yeah,
everything started going?
it definitely helped to have them there, but just leading up to that, I mean, I'm completely sorry for turning Ollie. Like that was not my intentions, but just the way he slowed up mid corner, I just wasn't expecting it, and I tried to get to his outside, and it was too late at that point. And I really hope I didn't damage his truck too bad. He still had a pretty great run, but yeah, I'm completely sorry, Ollie, for doing that to you. But yeah, when that caution came out, because yeah, we got the restart, and it was right on the fuel number. So we had to do a little bit of clutching, and then Danny started catching on to that, so we were dropping through the field, and it was just going to be interesting to see what was going to happen, because I mean, your fuel numbers always show something, and in reality, they'll probably be pretty close, but you never know what'll happen. And Ollie obviously was going a lot harder, so it was going to be super interesting to see what was going to happen there. And I felt like I had the speed that I really needed another caution to come out, so I could just drive 100%. Because I felt like I was just the fastest out of everyone when it came to that. But having to save made it a little bit more difficult. And then obviously with Danny, that sucked to see as well. But that brought up the caution that really set everything up perfectly. I got Ollie off the pit road there. That just coming into this race, I knew the number one stall was going to be really important, just off of all the C-fix I've done and all my training this week. So I knew it was going to be super important to get that. And once I had it, that was just a huge confidence boost to start the night. And yeah, just that restart happened, got around everyone, and just set the sails from there. And yeah, it was awesome that last like 50 laps.
I mean, John, we look at the stats coming into tonight, and we hearing from the rumors, the practice, everyone was saying you were the driver to watch out for this championship. But with where you finished and where everyone else finished as well, getting the pole, you have solidified yourself as basically either tied or number one in every stat possible we could look at. What was it like going throughout this season? We know that you had the suspension / ban on iRacing that wasn't a part of this league, but you just weren't able to run for 2 races that you had to recover from. What is that feeling like, recovering from that to win a championship this season?
Yeah, I mean, that was just a huge letdown when that suspension happened, because I mean, this league was going on, but it was still beginning of the season. But I also had just qualified like for the Firecracker 400, and that's just like a big race that it's really hard to get into, and to get in to the race and not be able to race in that way. It was, I mean, it sucked right after it happened, but it just became a big motivation for me for the rest of the season. And like every time I have to come back from something or the adversity, I just look at that moment and know that I've come so much further from that. So yeah, just putting the training in, the practice, and the preparation for the rest of the season, and especially the playoffs. Like, if we look at my stats from last season, I would have like one race where I finished like 20th, the next one would be like a top 3, and it would barely get me to the next round. So this season, I just really needed to work on that consistency when the playoffs started, and just all through it, I think I finished top 10 pretty much every single race. If it wasn't top 5 or a win, so yeah, that was just the key. I had to put all the puzzle pieces together, and just be able to perfect this season from the time I got suspension.
I mean, it all worked out for yourself to get into victory lane. John, I know you probably have a lot of people you want to thank, so now the floor is yours before we get you out of here.
Yeah, I need to thank all the sponsors that were on here the whole season. We had JDF Performance Mods. Go check them out on Instagram. And just recently, we have a new sponsor, eFlex Fuel. Go check them out. They do ED5 conversions for just any car. Go check them out. They're brand new supporter, and it's gonna be great to have them on board for next season as well. Holla up the Reds, of course. We're gonna have 11% off at the store there, so definitely go check out Holla up the Reds. Yeah, all the friends and family watching all season, and for you guys for putting these on. I'm glad we could get this one broadcasted tonight. It's pretty close, and yeah, can't wait to go back and watch this later.
Yeah, it's going to be the 11 machine and your newest winner to the championship collection, your Season 5 ISRC Lara Productions Truck Series champion, the 11 of John Forbes. Congratulations, John. Enjoy this one and enjoy your off season.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you soon.
As that will be the 11 of John Forbes, your winner. We now head down to second place, which, what a person to talk to. His teammate found himself getting the championship this season. He got it last season. We have Nick Crawford with us. Nick, you come away with second, but man, how does it feel watching your teammate go on and win the championship here tonight?
Man, it brings a tear to my eyes, Sam. That was really cool, just especially being there, me and Cody, and if Norris wasn't being Norris, he would have been up there too. But honestly, after a season like this, it's nice to finish second, and I will happily finish behind my teammate as long as he wins the championship. You know, I was hoping he would pull over, we could do the win, and he gets the championship, but it's better this way.
I definitely always would like to go for a win. I know how that is. But yeah, Nick, a great finish to the season for you, even though you didn't make it to this Final Four. I know that was a disappointment for yourself, but does it feel good to end the season with with a good finish like second?
Oh yeah, it always feels good, you know, avoiding all the trouble in the race and somehow finishing second, even with the questionable strategy in the beginning. But yeah, it's just great all around. We locked up the team championship early on, and then we got a team, the individual championship tonight, and that's 2 seasons in a row that we get the final championship. I don't think we got the team one last time, but looking pretty good for Snowy Desert right now.
A very strong run for Snow Desert indeed. Well, Nick, we got a long off season. What is the confidence level of you coming back for next season and trying to go for your chance for a second championship?
Well, you know, hopefully I'm free of the championship curse. I even joked with John. I don't know if he actually heard me in the race. I was like, just let me win so we can break it. So, but he's gonna go through it next season. But yeah, it'd be fun to come back, and hopefully the off season isn't too long. But we'll see.
Well, Nick, we can't wait to see what you bring next season, and congratulations on a second place finish here tonight. Before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours.
First of all, I have to thank my teammates this season. It was really fun bringing Cody and John on to Snowy Desert. They've been a great help. They have a lot of knowledge, and I'm glad that they did so much better this season. Just looking at their finishes and their averages, they did awesome, and Norris did great. So I gotta shout out to them. Snowy Desert's pretty awesome this season. And then shout out to all the other people that helped. Tyler was there. We even had Josh Kanata in there. He was helping out with numbers a lot. He's really good with that. And then shout out to you guys for broadcasting. Of course, shout out to my wife. She's amazing. She's got school right now. She's working hard, so always proud of her. And then last but not least, Ethan Smith, we miss you. We need our villain back. You have a good night.
That is going to be Nick Crawford in the 74 machine coming away with second place here tonight. Enjoy your off season, and we'll see you back for season 6. As we move on from second place finisher, we go down to third place finisher, where we find ourselves with the 25 of Cody Reed. Cody, you brought up the pink once again. Another top 5 finish for yourself. But man, this one looked a little bit harder than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, that was an interesting race all around. I qualified pretty terribly. Like I think I was like second to last of everyone that qualified. That was pretty awful. I wasn't good in practice. Wasn't that good in the first stage, and I really only got my track position from just like flying around on the outside on that one restart. And but I'll take it though. And also, congrats to John Forbes, obviously my teammates. He's been my teammate since season 1, so big congrats to him. But it was a pretty up and down race overall.
That it really was for you, Cody. Man, I definitely seen you up there ripping the wall, getting those spots, man, and getting that track position. I mean, how big was that track position there on that last run? Because it seemed like being up front there, it really allowed you to hold on to that track position to bring home this third.
Yeah, I think just getting to run laps kind of by myself and being able to like follow John really helped a lot. Got me, him, and Nick really far out away from the field, and then John ended up just gapping us completely as well. But at that point in the race, there weren't that many cars with speed left because half of them had been wrecked. So that not having to deal with those guys, and then also just kind of not being within a pack, being behind like 10 cars, it's pretty easy to stay up front. So yeah, track position was pretty huge tonight. I will say tire saving was also very huge tonight. I did not save my tires as good as John or Nick there at all. If I did, I definitely could have finished second, maybe battled for the win. I don't know how hard I would have ran John, knowing he's running for a championship and everything. But yeah, track position and tire saving, I would feel is equally as important here.
I mean, Cody, what a run for yourself. What a season you had as well. Seeing all those averages and finishes climb. Uh, what a great jump. But man, before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, big shout out again to John Forbes. Ran a great race, ran a great season. Definitely deserves a championship. He deserved a championship like a few seasons ago, but he's just been screwed over every single time. But a big props to him. I want to thank the Pink Machine because my last like 5 finishes have all been in the top 4 with that scheme, so I might need to bring that a lot more frequently next season. I'd like to thank my other 2 teammates as well, Norris and Nick. They've been a big help this season, and I definitely wouldn't be as good as I am right now if it wasn't for those 2. I'd like to thank you guys for putting on a great show this whole season and every single other season we've had, and same thing with the admins. Big thanks to those guys for putting this all together. I'm gonna be really sad on Monday nights for the next couple months without this league, but I'm looking forward to next season.
And we're going to miss it as well. That's going to be the 25 machine of Cody Reed coming away with third place finish. Congratulations, Cody. Enjoy the off season and good luck in season 6.
All right, I'll see you guys.
As that's going to be the 25 machine of Cody Reed. Third place finish, but we do want to talk to one of our championship contenders. Had to fight and claw, but came away with 5th place. We have the 24 of Ollie Fonseca. Ollie, I know that this wasn't the finish you were hoping for. You've really put on a great fight between yourself and John and Danny in the early portions of this race. But man, how are you feeling after this really amazing season you had to make it back to the Final Four?
Yeah, and I tell everyone this, I feel like making the Final Four, people underestimate what that really means. That's where everyone's trying to get, and I feel like winning the title with this format really is just kind of gravy on top. So obviously that's always going to be the goal, but I was kind of a mindset, or at least trying to get in the mindset of just be happy to be here, be happy to have the opportunity and just show them what you got. And I felt like I did my job the best I could. There were definitely a few mistakes, overshot my pit box, got into the fence a little bit. Just I'll be honest, just pressure getting to me, knowing I had to get a little bit more every opportunity I could. But aside from getting turned there off of 4, it was pretty fun. I had a great time out there racing with those guys. Danny, John, and Josh, I love those guys, man. They bring out the best in me. I love practicing with them, and I'm just really glad that we all, accomplished our goal to make it in together. So, as bummed out as I could be about finishing second again, there's a lot more to be proud of than that. So,
Well, Ollie, I tell you, man, it was definitely a very good effort from your side, man, to come back from everything here tonight, and it's such a good battle between you guys up front, man. So, congrats on putting on a show first off for us and the wonderful season you've had once again making this Final Four on back-to-back occasions. But what else did you need there to go up there and compete with John? We know we've seen the teammates of his teammates in between you that was going to make it tough. But what else did you need there to go up there and get that 11?
yeah, after my spin there off of 4, there was roughly 30 seconds of optional. And the spoiler wasn't crinkled, but Brandon did mention I had some quarter panel damage, and I could tell just going down the straightaways.
something just wasn't quite right. I was getting beat on just raw speed going down the straightaways. So in the draft, it wasn't as bad. So I tried my best to stay right with them, and I thought to myself, if I can just get to his bumper and move him, that was the only way I was going to be able to win. And unfortunately, his teammates, doing what my teammates would have done, trying to protect him and help him solidify his title. I can't knock that. They're just doing their job and working together. So once, they pulled away, the three of them, that was pretty much it. I was just kind of racing to secure a solid finish in the final race of the season and just finish second in points again, which, it is what it is. I wish I didn't have that damage and I could have given him a run for his money there, but it's just it's iRacing for you.
Ollie, I know that this season did not go the way that you wanted at the end of the day to get the championship, but I know you had a lot of people in the chat rooting for you to get the win. But before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any more shout-outs.
Yeah, of course. I got a ton. I just want to thank my family, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, my cousins, and all my other friends that were in live chat tonight. I appreciate it so much. It honest to God warms my heart to see all that and how much these guys really support me and what I'm doing. This all just started out as a hobby, something to get the competitive edge out of me from time to time, but then it grew a lot more after my first couple seasons, and I don't know where the progression came from, but it came quick, and I never would have thought I'd make the Final Four once, let alone twice. So I'm just happy for the opportunity. It's kind of the same thing as last season, and you keep on putting yourself in these positions. Eventually, you're gonna have something go your way. Just tonight wasn't the night. And then I also got to thank my teammates, Danny, Josh, Mason, Dakota, for giving me the opportunity 2 seasons ago. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for running laps with me every single day of the week. Thank you for sharing information with me and helping me get better. Thank you, Brandon, for crew chiefing and doing a phenomenal job on the box every single week, doing everything I need him to do. So I appreciate the heck out of him, man. And of course, I got to thank Hot Lap Threads. I believe since John won tonight, there's an 11% discount site wide, so you guys can definitely find some good merch there, whether it's me or John or any of your other favorite drivers. And then, of course, I got to thank Larry for the opportunity to put him on my truck this season. When you got the title sponsor on your truck, that's a lot of weight on your shoulders and you got to perform. And I know my first few races with him on the truck didn't go quite as planned, but I think we really tidied it up at the end of the season. So I'm glad to give him a good couple runs and finish second in the points for Larry. That's really cool. And of course, you guys for putting these races on. I love watching these. My family and all my friends love watching these. Thank you so much for doing everything you guys do every week.
Well, that will be the 24 of Ollie Fonseca. It helps when you guys put on a great show week in and week out, as the 24 will officially finish second in the championship race, but tonight we'll finish fifth on track. Congratulations, Ollie, on a successful season, and we cannot wait to see what Season 6 brings to you.
Thank you, Sam.
As we finish out our interviews here tonight, thank you so much to everyone that joined with us in the chat. I know they're getting rowdy, rooting for who you wanted to win the championship, and ultimately it went to the 11 of John Forbes. Thank you for joining with us on your Monday night as we get ourselves prepared to look at our unofficial results of tonight's race. What a season! Season 5, 18 races in the book, and John Forbes finds himself heading into victory lane and hoisting not just the race trophy, but the championship trophy for Season 5. Taking second place will go to his teammate Nick Crawford. Other Snowy Desert driver going to go to Cody Reed in third. Molly Coots follows up with a fourth place finish with Ollie Fonseca in fifth. Mark Morales sixth. Great finish for the 6 of Justin Smith, who completely wiped out and took out the Season 3 champion and contender of our Final Four, Danny Cochran. Smith somehow goes away with the 7th place finish. Tyler Dangler gets 8th. 9th goes to the other championship contender of Joshua Kanata. And then Eric Stamp in 10th place, finishing out our top 10. Smaller field than usual, Zach, but I think all eyes are going to loom on that 6th machine of Justin Smith and Danny Cochran incident.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of eyes are going to loom on with Danny Cochran back there. 15th in the finishing order is that's the unofficial results for tonight. But yeah, that's going to be I'd say the black eye on the night for sure. That's it's tough. I understand the 6 he's racing, and he has every right to race. That's the thing about these races that's different than an NFL Super Bowl or a playoff basketball game. You're against the people that you're in. But NASCAR races, when we're doing these playoff things, you got other people who are not associated with those championship events happening while they're racing on the track, and they have every right to race out there. But you gotta give a little bit of leeway, and you cannot take out one of the championship contenders like that with just a silly mistake of coming down the track into them. I think definitely that's going to be one talked about for a minute.
Well, it seemed like it was in the numbers as number 11, John Forbes, grabs his probably most memorable win he could ask for. His 11th career win is his championship win here at Homestead for John Forbes, and moves him up to second all-time in the wins list. But before we call it a night, we also got to give a huge shout out to the sponsors, that of Art Productions, who hopped on board this season to be the title sponsor for the ISRC Truck Series, Orchid Moon Tattoo Studios, qualifying grid sponsor, Team Watson Racing Setups is our stage rig sponsor, our white flag sponsor being the Laugh Lap, the Morecast 5, Armadillo Motorsports, and everyone else that helped out for Season 5 of the ISRC Art Productions Truck Series. Thank you so much for hopping on board. And if you'd like to see even more great racing, well, we've got you covered as the drivers of the Full Send Racing Series get action prepared as that of tomorrow night. It's going to be their next racing action as those drivers in the Xfinity cars, they have been putting on a great show. Then on Wednesday, it's the final race of the season for the WSSR Cup Series, the Gen 4 machines. Who grabs the Season 7 championship? You have to find out and see. Then Thursday, we also have the Stars and Stripes Series as they head to Charlotte to see who can carry on and get a win in the playoffs. A lot of great racing action, Zach, and certainly, this is crazy to say, this is our last 4 days of coverage of racing action. Starting next week, we only got 2 races a week.
That we do, yeah. It's crazy to say. I mean, Monday, Wednesday coming to a close on the same week, and with Thursday is getting into the playoffs. They'll soon be coming in, so it's just getting to that time of the year. Getting close to November, getting close to December, where things start to calm down for a little bit with sim racing. But man, it's been a great year, 2023, especially with these guys. What a competitive season it was. Another new champion crowned. Couldn't ask for more for a race tonight. We had a little bit of drama, in multiple different ways. So it's definitely built up, and I think their next season's definitely got some storylines heading into it.
Drivers have already been notified. Next season is going to be in 2024. They're taking November and December off. We might see the league back in January. And a lot of the drivers say, hey, we need this break. We're ready to recruit, get more drivers in here. And could a new rookie class be the dominators of the league? As John Forbes, all 5 seasons he's ran in, he's made his second attempt at the Final Four in a championship here tonight. And it was success for the 11 machine. Congratulations on joining the crowd of so many great champions in the past, such as Vincent Sora, Trenton Jump, Danny Cochran, and Nick Crawford. And now John Forbes. 5 seasons, 5 different champions. Season 6 should be a good one. But for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining with us. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for joining with us. We will see you tomorrow night as the Full Send Racing Series. Who's making the playoffs? I'll have to check out in the Xfinity car. It's going to be a good one at Richmond is our next Freaky Fast Broadcast.